Hey everybody, it's John with Backyard Eden. Just thought I'd bring you a quick look at one of the raised beds here in the garden. Is doing fantastic. That's coming up on Backyard Eden. Alright guys, so we are back here and we are in the backyard garden and we are taking a look at the raised bed behind me. It is doing fantastic. Got a combination of things, and I haven't talked a lot about this in my videos so far, but I do kind of my own thing. I plant square foot gardening method. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically a technique that was created by Mel Bartholomew, and essentially his theory is that if you concentrate on the soil, making a good, healthy, nutrient-dense potting soil or mix in your raised beds, that you'll be able to grow more in a smaller space. Theory works. It's hands down probably the best method for a small space gardener out there. So I do a square foot gardening, but in combination with that, I do what's called intensive planting. So I take the square foot method and I kick it up a notch. And so sometimes maybe too much, but I like to try things and I don't always follow the rules. So basically the whole premise of square foot gardening is you're going to take your raised bed soil and you're going to mix it 1/3 compost, 1/3 peat moss, and 1/3 vermiculite. Yeah, okay. So this bed, the difference between square foot gardening and what I've done in this particular bed is initially I double dug the soil in this bed, and it's only 6 inches tall, so I dug about a foot down below that, turned the soil over, put the frame on the put the frame there, and then filled it completely with compost. Nothing else. This bed has been in production for 4 years now, and it's been hands down one of my best beds in the entire garden on the entire homestead. So I stand by the method. It's fantastic. So without any more yammering on, let's take a look at what's growing in there. Alright, so here is the raised bed, and it looks like it's overgrown, and it is to an extent. There's some weeds, grass that it needs to be trimmed from the edge of the raised bed. Here's the edge of the raised bed, right about there. And of course there's some weeds and stuff that needs to be trimmed. See, there's some of the wood right there. So that'll need to be trimmed and all that. But what you see right here, there's like a hedge, and I'll get to that in a minute. But that is actually not weeds. That's supposed to be there. So growing in this raised bed, here's the kicker. Growing in this raised bed, I have in the very back, right here, I have some sunflowers. And these are Mammoth Russians. That one is already over the top of the fence by about a foot, maybe a little bit more. The fence is 6 foot tall. So that one is already at about 7 foot tall. And then there's some other ones here. They're supposed to be Mammoth Russians, but we'll see. That one's already got some flowers starting on it. So I'm having a hard time believing that that's Mammoth Russian. But, who knows? But in addition to that, I've planted some, let's see if we can find it. I've planted some cucumbers. I don't know if you can see it because of the shade. But here is some cucumbers. And they're trellising up the sunflowers all the way down. So the sunflowers are a living trellis. And I've done this before. Basically everywhere there's a sunflower, there's a cucumber. All the way down. And there's sunflowers all the way down the back, I don't know, say, it's not quite 6 inches, probably the back 4 inches. So probably about this much of the back bed is got sunflowers in it. This bed is only 2 foot from the fence. So it's a 2 foot this way by 8 foot long. So in the back, in the very back, like I said, I have the sunflowers. Right next to them, basically, I have cucumbers at each sunflower. Some of them have already trellised up the sunflowers quite a bit, as we saw in that very end one. And then in the row right in front of that, of course, I've got too much planted in here by most people's standards. But in the row right in front of that, I have okra. So there's probably 8, 9, 10 okra plants in there. You can see them right here. That's okra. And then in the front of that, right up here, where the wooden stakes are, those are peppers. So there are 8 pepper plants in the front of this bed. And they're all doing pretty well. You can get a shot of the peppers in there. And then, as I said just before, this little hedge that looks like weeds, that's actually marigolds all along the front. So, sunflowers, cucumbers, okra, peppers, and marigolds. In addition to that, I know that there are some basil volunteers in there. So this bed is doing fantastic. It's going to keep going crazy and keep going fantastic until I decide to pull something out. So, yeah. So this raised bed, doing fantastic. This is my second year that I've used... Excuse me, this is the second year that I've planted that same combination in there. Sunflowers, cucumbers, peppers, and okra. They all do really well together. It's not the second year in a row. I did that the first year, which was, like I said, this bed's been going in production for 4 years. So the first year I did this combination. Second year, I did something completely different. Third year, I did tomatoes. And I know you're not supposed to follow nightshades with nightshades and all that sort of stuff. But when you are growing and building soil, as long as you're building soil, I don't have a problem with it. So, just thought you would growing right now that's just going fantastic. And how are you growing it? Leave that in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. We've got a ton going on here on the homestead. Tons of updates to come. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't checked us out on social media, you can do that now. You can find the links in the description below. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video. Hey, you made it to the end. Awesome. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that right below this video. And please, if you enjoyed it, share with your friends. And I hope that you will come back and continue to watch our content and also have an awesome day.